Hello there, my name is Mac for Spartans, and welcome to part 2 of a complete ASTRONEER walkthrough. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make an RTG, which is a crucial energy source needed to beat the game. And with that said, let's begin. Alright, so first thing you need to know is that making an RTG is not going to be a walk in the park. It's very complicated to make an RTG and involves a lot of steps. But the first step is to make a large shuttle. You're going to need a large shuttle to make an RTG. Now you'll notice that to make a large shuttle, you're going to need 2 titanium alloy, and you can make that in the chemistry lab, but it requires titanium and graphene and nitrogen. Now in order to get titanium, you need to get the raw material titanite, which is found on Glacio in the caves, but you're gonna need a drill mod in order to do so. I find that making a trade platform is the fastest way to get titanite, because then you can just trade 2 scrap for titanite. In order to get scrap though, it does require you to make a large shredder, but by now you should be balling in bytes if you continuously were researching Atrox samples. But in order to make the trade platform, you're gonna need hematite to smelt into iron, and for that you actually are gonna need to go to Glacio. But don't worry too much, hematite is very easy to find and very plentiful on Glacio. It's just on the surface, so you don't need to do too much looking. Once you found hematite, get a bunch of that. You're going to need that for a bunch of stuff later on. Go back to Silva and make a trade platform and a large shredder, after you research them, of course. Now, making a trade platform should be easy. You should have all the materials, but a large shredder requires tungsten carbide, which is tungsten and carbon fused together in a chemistry lab. And to make carbon, all you gotta do is get some organic and smelt it in the furnace. Now, once you have your large shredder, you're going to need to go out into the world and find debris. Now, debris can come in all sorts of objects. It can come in life pods, tables, broken down rovers, chairs, wheels. You shouldn't have to go that far out into the world to find it. Debris should be laying everywhere. I literally looked in one direction and found this broken down rover right across from my base. Now, sadly, we can't quite make the extra large shredder yet. It's just too expensive, and you're going to need an extra large platform B in order to do so, and that requires even more materials. The large shredder can only shred medium to small things like rover seats, wheels, and then debris you collect on your backpack that's just scattered around a crash site. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit of a grind, a little tedious, but it is probably the faster way to get titanite. You're going to want to get 4 scrap. Now, you can either do this by just roaming across the world and finding debris, or you can also make platforms or other small objects that the large shredder can shred and use that as scrap. Now, once you have 4 scrap, you're going to want to put that on the trade platform. As soon as you select titanite, press the green button, it will send that scrap up in the air, and in about a minute or 2 it'll come back with 2 titanite. Now, it's probably around this time where you want to research the large shuttle. If you haven't already done so, you should have more than enough bytes as long as you've been constantly scanning those Atrox research samples. When the trade platform comes back, you're going to want to take that titanite and smelt it into titanium, and now you are a third of the way there to getting titanium alloy. The next thing you need to do is make an atmospheric condenser, because you're going to need nitrogen and hydrogen in order to make the titanium alloy. Once you've made the atmospheric condenser, all you have to do is power and then click on nitrogen. Once you're done making nitrogen, you're also going to want to make hydrogen, and this is where ammonium comes into play. This is where you're going to need ammonium. Now, in order to make titanium alloy, you need graphene as well, and to make graphene, you need hydrazine as the fuel. And to make hydrazine, you need the hydrogen mixed with 2 ammonium to give you 1 hydrazine. You need to do that 2 times, and then mix the hydrazine with graphite to get graphene. In order to get graphite, you can either use the soil centrifuge or the trade platform, whatever you want. Now, once you have the graphite, combine that with the hydrazine to get graphene. Do that twice, and then combine that with the titanium, and you should get titanium alloy. And all you need after that is 2 ceramic to make your large shuttle. Now, a trick you can do to even double the space of the large shuttle is research and make a large storage. All it takes is 3 ceramic that will double your space capacity. Now, this is where you're going to start needing to get gases from other planets, mainly Argon and Helium. We're going to be getting Argon first, and for that you're going to need to research a special little item that is very useful. This item is called a packager, and it's only 1,000 bytes. planets, and what it does is, well, package things. You're going to need a lot of graphite though. This is when you're going to start needing to get a ton of graphite, because these packagers are very useful for transporting special equipment across other planets, which is exactly what we're going to be doing to get the gas. Now you're going to want to make 4 packagers, 2 to package your atmospheric condenser and large platform B onto the shuttle, and then packaging them back onto the shuttle to bring back to Silva. Once you have both of those packed onto your ship, you're going to want to make 3 small generators, or you can bring a couple medium generators, whichever you prefer. I just like to use the small generators because I don't have to smelt organic into carbon and go through all that nonsense. You're also going to want to bring a lot of organic with you. Even though you have 3 small generators running on 1 atmospheric condenser, it's still going to require a lot of power. So bring a lot of organic, make sure you're packing a lot of that stuff so you can consistently run, because you are going to want to get at least bare minimum 2 to 3 canisters of argon, because that is one of the most useful gases in the game. Now the planet we are going to be going to get Argon is Glacio. While you are here waiting to get Argon, Glacio is actually not a half bad planet to get some research samples from. I think some research samples are around 1,500 to 2,000 bytes, so you can also stock up on those since you have a huge amount of space on your ship. Now once you have the Argon and you're back at your base, there is a special thing you can make for your ship called a hydrazine thruster. Now this is way better than the solid fuel thruster. It doesn't break, it doesn't last only 1 trip, as long as you supply it with hydrazine. I believe 1 canister of hydrazine lasts 2 to 3 trips. So it's just overall way better. You can finally make that since you have the Argon, because Argon is used to make steel through the chemistry lab. This is also when ammonium is going to be very useful. You're going to be using that a lot now. So whether you have a solid fuel thruster or a hydrazine thruster and you're ready to go to Atrox, that is the planet you're going to need to go to in order to get helium, which is going to be used to make the nanocarbon alloy. Now helium is only found on Atrox, and this is going to take you a while because it's only 25 ppU on Atrox, which means it's going to take a whole lot longer than it was Argon, so you're going to need to bring even more organic than you would normally. The plus side though is you're only going to need 1 canister, maybe 2, depending on how many nanocarbon alloys you're going to make. You're honestly not going to make more than 4 or 5 in your entire world. So now if you really don't like the small generator power system, you can bring some solar panels or wind turbines with you, but it's just not going to generate as much power on Atrox as Sylvia, because it is low sun and low wind on Atrox. I just find generators is just way more simple and convenient. Now the last material you need in order to make your nanocarbon alloy is lithium. Now before you go to Vesania, which is where lithium is at, you're going to want to store at least 3 medium storage units in your shuttle, because you want to get at bare minimum 33 lithium. I'll explain why you need so much later, but just trust me, you're going to need that much lithium. Now this is where it might get a little tricky. In order to find lithium, you have to dig down to the first mantle layer of the planet, which is the blue layer. The only reason I'm digging so fast is because I'm in creative and I increased the dig speed. But you're going to want to dig down through the blue layer. You should hit a cave sometime soon. It shouldn't take too long. And then you're going to want to explore throughout that cave until you come across these little pink yellow noodle spindly things out of the ground. You're going to want to get as much of that as possible. 33 bare minimum. This was also the exact moment where I realized I could fly. I just found it really goofy and funny. Oh my god, that would have saved me so much time. Anyway, you're going to want to go back to Sylvia, and you now have all the components you need to make an RTG. Now this RTG is a very strong source of energy. It produces 4 amps on its own, which is equal to 2 solar panels constantly producing power. For now, you can put it on your base to have a constant source of 4 amps. I replaced it with a wind turbine, but you can do whatever. Next episode that I'm going to make is going to be focused more on how to make your life in Astroneer a lot easier, not as much progression, but it's going to be focused mainly on hydrazine thrusters to make maneuverability way easier, as well as a really efficient way to get ammonium for hydrazine and fuel, because you're going to be needing a lot of that. So that does conclude our second episode on how to make an RTG. I hope you guys find this informative and useful. And with that said, I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!